Hello and welcome to Books and Beyond. My name is Jimmy Bennett. I'm your host. Um, this week we're doing our show again by Zoom. Obviously, during the crisis here, the studio's been shut down. But Frank's been great at SEC TV and putting these things together for us. I have a great show today. But first, I want to talk about CAPA, the Connecticut Authors and Publishers Association. I am a co-chairman of the organization. It's for writers, illustrators, editors, anybody that has anything to do with the written word. And we encourage the public and anybody who's aspiring to join up and see what we're all about. Last week I did a show with some members of CAPA, and it was nice. I'm hoping that people will be interested in stuff. It's you have the time now. A lot of people have the time. Use it to personify your aspirations. I myself am an author. I have 3 books written about William Gillette mysteries at Gillette's Castle. I'm working on my 4th. So that being said, it's been a tough time for everybody. Things have been shut down, closed up. Hard to figure out where we're going to be going from here and how to get through this safely and with our sanity. So today, I have a very special guest, a fellow CAPA member, Jill Whitney. Jill is an author, and she's also contributes to the Times Magazine, the supplement of the day, for 8 or 9 different towns. She has a lot of articles in there about marriage and family counseling. Great articles. Check it out. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist. And so let me introduce her. How you doing, Jill?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Tell us a little about yourself and what you do.
Well, I'm a family therapist in private practice, so I see adult individuals. I see a lot of couples, just people dealing with stuff. So I have a lot of folks in my practice who are, I don't know, have marriage problems, or they have any kind. We all have problems in life. We go through tough patches of road. And sometimes it helps to have an objective third party kind of walk you through all that. And that's kind of what I do. I also write about relationships for the day's Times Community News Group, as you mentioned. And I write a blog called Keep the Talk Going, which is about relationships. And my special focus is on helping parents talk with kids about everything to do with sexuality, whether that's teaching your toddler the right parts, names for body parts, or helping your kid learn about puberty or make choices about relationships when they're teenagers, kind of the whole spectrum. So
wow, that's that could be a handy thing for a lot of people. Now, have you been seeing? Are people generally dealing with the crisis, or have you seen a big rise in people with anxiety and problems with their families and marriages and
yeah, I think it's been anxious for everybody. It's just I'm describing it as like we're all running a background program. So we all have our normal stuff going on in our lives, whatever that is. And then we all have these, when's it going to end? What does this mean for me? What if I get sick? Worries about loved ones, worries about jobs. And that's all just kind of taking up mental energy for all of us in the background every day for these last couple of months. And so I think for some people, it's sort of in the background, and for some people, it's very much forefront. It's certainly worse for people who have a loved one in a nursing home that they can't visit, or someone who's lost a job. How could you not be anxious, right? These are big, big things. So yeah, I think it's affecting everybody. And by everybody, I mean, not just my clients, but myself, my family, all my colleagues, my friends, everybody. It's unprecedented. We don't know how to deal with all of this. So yeah, I think there's just a lot of background stress that wasn't there 3 months ago.
And how do you what do you tell people? How do you help them?
Well, part of it is to know that you're normal. And I will say that I'm finding that people are like, really, I'm okay, because we're isolated, which magnifies the problems in a lot of ways. We also aren't having those day-to-day interactions with people where we see how normal we are. Like it's normal to be upset about this. It's normal to be worried. And a lot of people early on had huge amounts of energy, like cleaning out closets and scrubbing floors and that kind of nervous energy that they express physically, which some people are still doing. But more and more people now are just kind of like, they're just meh, I don't really have a lot of energy, I don't really want to get going. And that's all normal. Like, it's okay. We're all dealing with this, and those are ways that it's going to come out. So a lot of normal. And then for each person, we all do kind of differently. Like we have the way it's playing out for us, for me is a little different than the way it's playing out for you. And so we talk about what's working. What's working? What do you wish you could do? I mean, we all wish we could get back to normal. We all wish we could get out there and see our friends and hug and all that stuff. But within what can we do? Like within if you're saying, I just really want to go to sleep, okay, go to sleep. Or I really want to not watch the news. Okay, don't watch the news. Whatever within the constraints of social distancing and all that, what helps for you? And my universal prescription these days is go for a walk. There is huge scientific evidence, even before all this, that physical activity out in nature, and walking does that, is like the number one mood enhancer for anybody. It is the best treatment for depression, by the way. It is ahead of therapy. It is ahead of drugs. Go for a walk. And we really need it now that we're all cooped up, even more so. So if there's one takeaway from today from me, go for a walk every day, whatever distance is right for you, but get out there.
Well, that's probably really great advice. I mean, I know it's great advice. You do see so many more people walking now.
Mm-hmm.
Going down River Road and Mystics, like taking your life, everybody's life in your hands. You gotta, but it's harder for me to understand. I mean, I know I'm anxious too. Of course, I'm constantly like, oh my God, when are things going to get? I mean, look at my hair. I've been waiting 2 months for a haircut. And I might just shave it all off again. I don't know. But it's hard for me to. I can sympathize with people, but it's hard. And I guess I empathize, but I've still been working full time. My wife and me both work in grocery stores. So we're both working full time. Our schedules really haven't changed all that much. I miss doing my show at the studio, but and I miss going to Kappa meetings where there's actual people and seeing my friends for coffee or drinks or whatever. But other than that, life hasn't changed too much for me. But even I get a little, wow, what's going to happen down the road because so many people have been hurt or affected by this. And one of the things I guess that I think about all the time, and I've had a teacher on the show talking about distance learning and stuff like that, is how parents now, both of my sons are older and grown and gone. So I don't have to worry about watching a child 24 hours a day, having somebody underfoot. And I mean, from ankle biting to teenage angst, it's a huge range.
Mm-hmm.
And having children underfoot all the time.
So I think it's exhausting. My kids are also grown and gone, so it's so much easier for me because I can still work. I really miss being able to see clients in person because I prefer that. But the HIPAA compliant Zoom-like stuff it's working. It's fine. And I'm lucky I don't have kids at home. And my heart goes out to the people who are trying to work from home and dealing with kids, especially the under fives, because they just need so much attention and it is exhausting. And all the things you used to be able to do, share childcare with a friend, have grandma come over, take them to daycare, all those options just aren't a thing right now. So it is really hard. And if you're a parent listening to this and you're in that position, just know it's really hard. And don't be hard on yourself. Like, as one friend said, keep everybody alive. Like don't feel like you have to do grand and amazing things. Just try to enjoy the time together. If you can, keep everybody safe and take care of yourself too. Parents need some downtime. I had a friend of a friend who came up with a brilliant solution. They live in, this is now a month ago, but in an apartment in the city where they weren't even allowed to go out. I think they were in New York. And, 2-bedroom apartment. Once a week, her husband took the two little kids to the living room for a sleepover party. And she had the bedroom all to herself for the whole night. And then another night, she took the kids and and she's like, it is just wonderful to have that little pocket of time. So it's an example of you get those little pockets of sanity time for you, even if it's tough, because it makes a difference to get just that little break.
Right. Right. And I mean, like I said, it's such a range too. I mean, you have small children that you have to watch constantly. Um, Parenting, with the online learning now, parents have to be much more involved with the schoolwork. Where it used to be, kid went to school, he came home, how was your day? Um, and honestly, with teenagers, I don't know how people, having a teenager or a couple of teenagers all the time trying to stay focused or entertained or at least out of trouble is must be. I mean, me and my brother would have been beating each other's brains out pretty much on a regular basis if this was us. So
Well, I don't think parents need to entertain their kids in general, but I do think it's really hard because teenagers are develop. It's appropriate for teenagers to be focused on their peers. So that's like what teenagers do is they have peer relationships and they get out there a little bit more in the world and they're more independent and they see their friends. And we've just pulled that completely out from underneath them. And they're really hurting the teenagers. I think they're really struggling. Uh, Introverts are probably having a harder and easier time of it than the extroverts, but all of them, this isn't what teenage years are supposed to be. And for good, in my opinion, good reasons, we have to do this, but it is hard. I mean, they're climbing the walls, they miss their friends. So if there are ways that you and your teen can get together with another parent and their teen and do a socially distanced thing. I mean, if you could do that every day, that would be helpful for a lot of teenagers. Or, depending on your kid and how much they're going to honor restrictions, if your kid will stay 6 feet apart and can go for a bike ride with a friend, and you can trust them that they're going to keep the physical distance, maybe do that. They can't have big groups. They can't, we know all the stuff they're not supposed to do. But if you can get some social in real life, have another parent and kid over for hamburgers on the back deck, 6 feet apart, but build that in because they're struggling, I think, even more than any other that age group. And then the folks who are living alone and especially in senior settings where they're not allowed to have visitors, I think those are the hardest hit groups.
yeah,
It's.
yep. Well, hopefully, I would hope, I guess, too, with the weather getting a little nicer. Now the kids can get outside. Uh, might be a little, like you say, a little harder to keep them from breaking the social distance and stuff like that. But we are starting to open up.
Mhm.
Uh, I mean, I've been torn. Like it's been 10 weeks. I've been going to work every day. I'm around a lot of people. I'm in a really high risk category, but I haven't been sick, or I was sick and didn't know it, or whatever.
Well, just can I speak for myself? Just jump in on that. Thank you from all of us. Thank you to you and all your coworkers who are keeping stuff going because I'm glad there's food in the grocery store and I know it can't be easy for you folks.
Well, thank you, because it's true. It's at first I thought about taking a couple weeks off. I said, well, I'll take. They were saying, the peak was coming. I said, well, I'm going to stay out of work and keep myself safe. But I did it, and I'm kind of glad I did because it's 10 weeks later, and I'm really in the same position. This could go on for months and months. And I think a lot of us who work realize that, and they realize that it's not just a quick solution. We can't just step out, what I mean, for a little bit of time. We have to stay the course, and we have to, yeah. I mean, people need to eat. They need to do the thing. I, I another thing I was going to ask you about, you know, it's no matter how good your marriage is, I mean, no matter what, all of a sudden you're together
Mhm.
24/7. And either if you're in the other room or whatever, you know what I mean? You're still there. How do you, try to avoid having problems or, minimize the problems that come up?
No, it really is hard. And it's, of course, really, really hard for couples that have been fighting and not getting along and that whole thing. But even for happy couples, it is a lot of togetherness. And so it helps to recognize that, like that it isn't that I don't love you, it's that I love you and I need some space, and honoring that your partner needs some space and you need some space, figuring out how you can get that, whether that's someone listening to the TV with headphones on so the other can have quiet, or that you go for walks sometimes together, sometimes separately, or you just say, Thursday nights, we don't watch TV together. You go watch what you want, I'll go watch what I like, figuring out ways to get little bits of space. And as you said, with it opening up and getting outside, that's getting a lot easier when you can, you know, I went for a walk on the beach with a friend the other day, 6 or 8 feet apart, but it was lovely to
Right.
be out of the house and doing that. Um, so, build that in where one of you is off with a friend and the other of you is off with a different friend or home alone or whatever, balancing that out. I think it helps if we notice when we're getting irritable, and we all have been, I think, a little more irritable or a lot more irritable in the last couple of months because it is so weird and just disorienting. But some of that is going to be that your partner loaded the dishwasher the wrong way again, or like just the partner stuff. And some of it's this background irritation that has nothing to do with our partner. It just doesn't. It's to do with the situation and all the things we can't control, and you know, so try to honor when you're feeling irritable. If you can, I first choice, notice it, take a couple of deep breaths and let it go. Great. And some days you just can't. Some days you're just in a funk. If you can say to your partner, I'm just feeling grumpy today, and it's not you, but I just need a little space, or I need a hug, or I need whatever it is you think might help. I need to go for a walk. If you can just say, I'm irritable and it's not to do with you, that helps, because then your partner's not defensive. They can hear it, like, ideally they can kind of get lighthearted. Are you being a grump again today, honey? Okay. But if you can keep it light, acknowledge that it's situational more than, but it's not, it is probably not a sign of something seriously wrong in your relationship. It's just crappy times and harder to get away from each other.
Right. you know, just talking to you on the show here, and like I said, even though I haven't been, in a lot of the positions that a lot of people are in, I haven't been confined as much and whatever, but I can imagine, and I guess I want to, encourage people, maybe to step out and to talk to somebody like you that could help them, just because it's a third person objective, you know, outside the situation, because, you get caught up in one little ball and then you don't see the trees through the forest, right?
Mhm. Oh,
So,
yeah.
you know, um, I can see where you could really help somebody. And I hope that people that are out there that are, I'm sure that there's a lot of people that have these things building in their heads,
For
their
sure.
aggravation, their angst, or anxiety. What used to mildly irritate you about your wife, you know what I mean, might be the kind of thing like, I'm going to buy a gun, and I, I, I would like people, I hope people would realize that if they hit that point, that maybe it's time to talk to somebody.
Well, if you're contemplating buying a gun for any reason other than
Yeah.
going hunting, like, yes, we should definitely don't do that.
A
Um,
little extreme. That example was a
yeah,
little extreme, but
but even if you're thinking about throwing a plate, like, okay, it's time to get. Yeah, I mean, a big part of what a therapist does, or at least as I work, and I think a lot of us, is we help people untangle. So we've got all this stuff going on in our heads, all of us, and what part of this is to do with my spouse, and what part of this is to do with COVID, or to do with my boss, or to do with something else? What part of this um, how am I making this worse? How am I piling on? If my spouse is something that pisses me off and I do I make it worse? Like teasing apart all these pieces into what we can control, what we can't control, what is a serious relationship issue and what is an annoyance. And, we have to all accept no partner is perfect. I mean, I'm perfect, you're perfect, but probably
Yeah.
most of us, I mean, like we
Right.
all have our stuff, right? So what are the parts of this package with my partner that I have to live with or not, or the deal breaker? But usually there's some stuff, well, okay, it's annoying about the toothpaste cap, but whatever, pulling all these pieces apart. Um, I'm always very interested in how couples get stuck or how couples derail a conversation. So maybe you've experienced it, but I know some people have, where it like everything was fine, all of a sudden it's not. Like what happened? And something happened. So what was the tone, the comment, the word? How did this get people set off? Because when you're in the moment, you don't know what happened. You just like, whoa, what happened? It blew up.
Right.
All of a sudden you're being a total jerk. But figuring out how there's always layers there. So, you can, a therapist can help you tease that apart to go, what are the tripwires? What sets somebody off? How do we do that differently so it doesn't blow up?
So if somebody, all right, let's say I woke up tomorrow and I was just like, man, I got to talk to somebody.
Uh-huh.
How do you, what's your step? How do you go about that?
Okay. If you know a friend who's been, if you know somebody who's had a good experience with a therapist, say, who was that helped you? Can I have their name? If you are part of a faith community, you can ask your minister, rabbi, priest, pastor, whoever you got, can you recommend somebody? They often do. You can talk to your doctor. A lot of primary care doctors have a list of, a bunch of folks they know around who are good. So those are like the ideal places to start. A surprising number of people find me and other therapists online. You just, put in marriage therapist Groton or whatever you're looking for, and it'll come up. You may find a site called Psychology Today has a listing. A lot of us are, you can find us on there, and we've got profiles. So you read them, and it's, I guess, a little bit like a dating site. You have a little description, and you say, does this person feel like somebody I'd like to talk to? Do they sound like somebody I might like? And if they don't call them. Like if it just doesn't feel like the right fit for you, just keep going. There's going to be somebody who is. And then call 2 or 3 of the people that seem like a fit. I usually talk to people on the phone for like 15 minutes just to see if we click, to get am I your cup of tea? Do I fit like what you're looking for? And if that feels pretty good, then you normally set up an in-person meeting. These days you set up an online session.
Right.
But the kind of rule on that is you listen to your gut. So if in the beginning somebody you're just like, I don't know, I don't really like her, I don't really like him, they're not the right person for you. And most therapists totally get that. And you just say, I'm sorry, like, I think we're not clicking, and go on to the next one. If you like somebody at the beginning and a little ways in, they start to irritate you, you should stick with it. That probably means they're getting to something really useful that's kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true. I can see where that would that'd be a sign. I hope that, like I said before, I hope that people that feel that they need to talk to somebody, or need that third person, and some people are just reluctant to talk to, like you say, even your doctor or your priest or whatever. Some people have these, I guess, I'll be honest with you, I'm sort of like that.
Mhm.
I think that I would be either embarrassed or wouldn't want to, say something to somebody that knew me.
Well, you don't necessarily,
You
you
know,
don't have to tell your doctor or your priest what's going on unless you want to. They are probably good listeners and they have probably seen everything you're going to throw
yeah,
at them. But if you could just say, I'm worried about something and I'd like to talk to somebody, that's
yeah,
fine. And I know people often do feel embarrassed. But let me tell you, I mean, been a clinician for almost 20 years now, but I was a client for years before that. And it really helped me. And we've all, most therapists are really not judgy people. Like we've been there. We've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. We've seen humans go through a lot of stuff. And What's really embarrassing to you may be a yep, oh yeah, got it. For
Yep.
us, not that it's not to minimize what you're going through, but it's part of the human experience, and it isn't anything to be embarrassed about.
All right. All right. Well, look, we are getting down toward the end, so I have one more question for you.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and if you kind of keep it a little short, but so obviously we don't know what's going on in the future. We don't know if this is going to last through the summer, through the fall, into 2022. Depends on who you listen to, who says. What do you tell people, going forward? What would you say to people about how to deal with that just a general manner? You know what I mean? Just stay calm. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to put you on the spot. I'm just trying to,
Yeah. Just know that uncertainty it's real, right? Not only do you and I not know how this is going to go, no one knows. It's a new thing, coronavirus. This is a novel coronavirus. The scientists are working really, really hard to figure this out, but they don't know. They're constantly getting new information, but it's beyond our control to know when it's going to end. So what are the parts you can't control? You can control whether you're getting sleep. You can control whether you're getting outside and getting some exercise. You can control whether you're eating healthy. And I know I certainly am eating more junk food than usual, but don't go too crazy with it. Make sure you're also eating your vegetables and your healthy stuff. Just take care of yourself. Reach out to people every way you possibly can, whether that's chatting with a neighbor across the fence when you're out for a walk, Zooming with people, calling your grandmother, just stay connected and take care of your body and be patient with yourself.
I think that's great advice. I hope people will really listen to that and take care because it's going to be a haul. I even I you know I'm trying to, like I said, I'm trying to move forward. With the Zoom meeting, keep my show going. Trying to stay in contact with people. Hopefully, well, you just don't know. I mean, I like to sit here and tell everybody, well, maybe there'll be a vaccine at the end in the fall, or maybe this, or maybe that. I can't. Nobody knows. So, but I think that's great advice. Keep healthy. Try to follow, and I'm also big about follow your interest or try something new now. If you've got
Absolutely.
time, instead of sitting in front binge watching Netflix, pick up a paintbrush. Sit at the typewriter. Take a knife and a piece of wood and whittle something. What's the difference? It don't matter.
Yeah,
Just try something that you always thought was neat, but never got around to doing.
absolutely. That's great advice.
So, and I want to thank you very much. Now you also, what is the name of your blog site? It'll be up on the screen, but
Keepthetalkgoing.com.
okay. All right. Good. I want to check that out. I want to thank you very much today, Joe. I think you had a lot of great advice.
My pleasure.
It was, we're all just trying to get through this, and it's nice to know that there's, help out there if you really need it. So,
And even if you need it a little bit, it doesn't have to be bad.
yeah, right. Well, don't let it get bad, right?
Yeah.
So, well, thank you very, very much, Joe. This has been Books and Beyond. I thank everybody for tuning in. And God bless. Take care of yourself. Stay safe.